Hi, I'm Dee Kite, America's Reinvention Coach. Today we're going to talk about the CleanSweepProgram. This is a program that's helped thousands of people improve their lives. So let's take a look. The first section is your physical environment, or what I like to call your life space. And what you'll do is look at each of the 25 items and you'll say, is this true? And if it is, check it off. And you'll also say, will this never be true? And if it'll never be true, check it off. And then if it's outdated, such as I do not use ozone depleting products. Now that was a big deal back in the 70s or maybe the 80s, and it's not today. Today we are much more sophisticated about the environment, and we might want to say, I am aware of the carbon footprint I'm leaving, and I try to keep it as low as I can, or something like that. So you want to check off what's true, and then what's not true. But stop yourself, because there was one, in my experience, there's one that says, I make my bed daily. And when I did this in my coach training, I wasn't making my bed daily because I have multiple sclerosis and I have to take a nap every day. And, it's like, well, why make the bed in the morning and then have to make the bed after my nap? I just didn't see the point. But then when it was here in this list, I thought, well, there must be some reason it's on the list, so I'll give it a try. And lo and behold, it just was so nice. It just gave me a sense of order, and it was kind of a pleasure to see the bed made and that it all looked nice. So it was something that hadn't been true for me, but that I decided to go ahead and make true. So now I can check that off. So let's go to the next section, which is health and emotional balance. And in this section, same thing. Check off what's true, check off what will never be true, and there may be quite a few that will never be true, as there are for me. For example, I rarely eat sugar. That's not going to be true for me unless I become a diabetic or something. And I consume very little caffeine, or whatever level it has on here. It really isn't important. What's important is, what do you want? Where are you now and where do you want to be? For example, one of my clients, she drank a pot of coffee every day, and she didn't want to drink that much coffee because she'd get jittery. So her goal was to come down to 3 cups a day. And my goal is to remain at 3 cups a day. And if I need a 4th, I'll have it. So I just go ahead and check that one off. And then there's one about drinks too. And I do like to have a margarita, so I have a few more. So the point is, check off what is not ever going to be true for you, or at least at this moment. And then check off any or change any that you think need tailoring, like that ozone. Okay, so then once you've checked off those that are true, will never be true, or change those that you want to change to fit you better, move on to the next. And the next section is money. And this is extremely important. We all know what's happened with our economy and people with their credit card debt that's just overwhelming and depresses them. I've had clients it just weighs so heavily on them that they have all this debt out there and they're not necessarily doing anything about it. So this gives you the structure to start thinking about, well, what am I going to do about these things? And it gives you the structure to think about your whole life and how you're going to handle that financially. And it gets into details that you might never have thought of. So it's just a wonderful tool. So check off what's true, check off what will never be true, and then total it up. And once again, if there's something in there that you want to tailor for you personally, go ahead. This is your tool. The final section is relationships. Always important, of course. And some things on here can be surprising. They were surprising to me. For example, one item says, there is no one I dread running into. And it's like, wow. I thought about it, and thankfully I could check it off at that time. But I've had clients that couldn't check it off. So they can't leave their house or go out to someplace without worrying that they might run into someone. And that's just totally energy draining, and it's not a good feeling. And why would you even want to leave your house if you're dreading running into someone? So you see what this does is it makes you look at items that, oh, wow, I need to work on that. Because if I dread running into someone, I need to get rid of that. And so my client and I worked on it, and she resolved the conflict with this woman and has no problem running into her now. So you'll find a lot of items like that in this list that are kind of surprising, but very, very important. Now, one that I find extremely important, and if you heard my other talk on complaining, then you already know this, but this says, I state requirements rather than complaining. Now, I want you to change it to, I make requests rather than complaining, because we don't want to go around demanding things. We want to let it be known that we need certain things. For our relationships to thrive, we've got to be able to communicate what we need. And complaining is a complete waste of time. It's also, once you stop complaining, it's almost impossible to hang out with people that complain. It gets to be so boring, and it's like, hey, stop complaining. What is it you want? And then when you ask someone that, when I ask a client that, what do you really want here? There's always a big pause, because it's really can be very hard to figure it out. It's easy to know what you don't want, but to take the time to figure out what you do want and then to make a request that you get it, that is absolutely life-changing. So go through this list, check off what's true, what will never be true, and tailor whatever else you need to fit your needs, and then total it up. So you have a total possible point count of 100, and you can make this into a game because you start out low. Believe me. Don't be shocked if you start out with a total of 20 points or even lower than that. It's okay. The point count doesn't matter. What matters is that you're on a path toward improving that score and improving your life. Because the better that score, the better your life. And then eventually you will feel like you've got your arms around your life and that you're moving forward and that you've got power. And then you can define what you want out of your life, which is really getting at the whole heart of my idea of reinventing your life. It's starting to live your life your way. Once you've totaled up the points in each section, you'll come to this page in the front, and you can make it colorful and fun, or however you want. You can see how exciting I made mine. And it was lower before. This is not my first one. So I just checked off the points for each section. So here's the physical environment. Suppose that you start out with a 5. So you'll color in up to 5. And then you go to your physical and emotional balance. Color that in. And then so on. So you'll have a visual reminder of where you are on your path. And then as you get more points, you color more in. So you have that visceral kind of feedback, and it just can make it more fun. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.